evening, Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and we are here on the 1011. And my special co-host of the evening is, of course, Caroline Lady Fantastic herself, who is a glutton for punishment and just keeps coming on my channel. So thank you so much for putting up with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And our guest of honor this evening is Haley from ChiComicGirl.
ChiComicGirl.
ChiComicGirl on Instagram. Okay, I'm sorry I messed it up.
No, it's okay.
And
Did you do that intentionally?
10 of her favorite books. One with a extended personal story, and then a spec pick. But first, Haley, what I'd like to do before we get this going, give those who are catching this on the rewind who don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what your YouTube and Instagram is about.
Yeah, so you can find me at ChiComicGirl on Instagram or YouTube. I basically just talk about books that I like, that I'm reading, that I'm collecting. My YouTube channel is like sporadic. Like you get to watch me do interviews with Chicago comic owners, shop owners in Chicago. And then if I go to cons, I usually do vlogs, and then I do review videos. It's kind of like a hodgepodge. It's one of those whatever I feel like it kind of YouTube channels, but it's always like based on just like stuff that I'm really enjoying and having fun with. So I don't really focus on like spec or things like that. Like I'm a new collector in the last like year and a half, like diving really deep, almost 2 years. So I'm like learning, and that's kind of what my whole channels are about.
And that's the fun. There's always something to learn in comics. It's like a never-ending journey with the hobby.
Definitely.
So we'll say a quick hi to the chat, and then we'll start out with your first book, and we'll have some fun. So first we have to say good afternoon, Las Cruces. Always joining us. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Jerry the Jitterbug, how you doing, bud? I hope you're enjoying New York. Chop, good evening, sir. Nice to see you, buddy. And there we go. We have Unruly Simeon. Good evening, sir. And we have Remy Q Studios. Good evening, Remy Q. He is coming up on the 1011 this Tuesday after you. Lady Fantastic, of course, who is my co-host, also active in the chat. We have Werewolf by Lunchtime, One Shot Comics. Good evening, gents. Happy to have you here. We have Bobby De La Ghetto. If you guys haven't checked out his episode of the 1011, check that out as well. Good evening, sir. And without further ado, Haley, we're going to turn it over to you, and we're going to let you get into your first book and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so my first book is Sleepless, which is from, I believe it's from Image. Yeah, it's from Image, and it is like a fantasy romance where there are these guards that never sleep. They take the vow of like no sleep in order to protect the royal family. And the royal family's about to get overthrown. And it's just kind of like that journey, and the princess falls in love with her guard. And this is one of the first comics that when I started going back to the comic shop and picking up, I bought every single issue of this run. And so I have the full run, and I love it. And it was like in the very beginning, before I even like was cognizant of like, I'm going to collect comics. I was like, I really enjoy the story. And so I just kept going back and picking it up. I didn't even like have a pull list at that point. So this is just like the start of like my indie collection, essentially.
That is cool. That is a book I had never heard of until now. I'm going to have to look it up. Is
really
it available in trade?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's just one, maybe two trades, but it's not like an extensive series. So.
Yeah, I remember when I got hooked on Saga, and I ended up buying all 7 volumes because I couldn't stop reading it.
Yeah, I have the compendium of Saga. There was just too much. I was like, okay, like we're getting the compendium because I started reading Saga this past year. So it's at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to even try to do trades or anything. I'm going to get it all at once and binge it.
Right.
Then my next is Kitty Pryde, Welcome to X-Men, which I realized the spec pick that I was supposed to have is like sitting in a pile somewhere, and I forgot to grab that. So I'm going to make this kind of my spec pick, which is that the X-Men are going to be coming, and hopefully we get Kitty Pryde.
We'll allow the cheat.
Yeah.
Now, who signed it?
Chris Claremont.
Ooh, nice.
Who's that?
Yeah. Who is he?
Who's that? Sounds like a weirdo.
I know, right?
Now, is Kitty Pryde one of your favorite X-Men?
Yeah, she is.
You and Lady Fantastic got that in common.
Yep, we do.
Now, what is it about that character that you connect with so much?
I loved well, when I read like the Marauders, like the current series, and I really liked just like kind of like how like badass she was, but she was still on the outskirts for being a mutant because she's not allowed in Krakoa. But then like as I was reading her in the Chris Claremont run, it's just like this kind of like innocence and like this I often connect with the younger characters in Marvel or in just like the series. So for that, I really liked her powers, and I loved just like that journey of like that kind of coming to age, and then also like kind of having to figure out how to be like a
Right.
superhero.
And being able to phase through walls is just so cool, right?
Yeah,
Being able to phase through anything you want.
absolutely.
And the next
Change your
issue was my
molecular
favorite with
density.
Dazzler.
Yeah, she can like, dude, she's got the
Lady
best
Fantastic.
powers.
Yeah,
Well,
I love her powers, so and it's
and
really
she
cool.
could be so deadly too, because she could phase into you and then go solid, and that's it. You're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, so badass for for her. So yeah, that I love Kitty Pryde, and she was like one of the first X-Men that like characters that I really loved outside of Magneto, which is like my first like.
Now, what do you think about Pyrity, Kitty Pryde?
I love it. So that's the Marauders. Like that is who I was first introduced to before the Chris Claremont. Like I read the modern X-Men previous to like going back. And so I liked Pirate Kitty Pryde. I thought that was a really
It's
fun.
a cool costume too.
Yeah. And then she has like the knuckle tattoos, and I was like, yes, I am so here for it.
You got to look up, because if you like Kitty Pryde, there's an old Lady Fantastic. Caroline and I have talked about. There's an from the '90s or early 2000s. There's a 3-issue miniseries called Pride and Wisdom, which is pretty fun with her.
What? I don't think
Yep.
I've ever even heard of that, to be honest.
It's fun. It's only 3 issues. You can get it cheap, and it's a good little read.
That's what I love to hear, when I can also get it cheap instead of.
And the mini with her and Wolverine where they go to Japan.
I love. Honestly, I actually almost picked like the first issue to put into the stack because one, I just love the cover, but then I love that mini series. Like I thought it was just so fun.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
You got one shot picking on you here, pounding Cabernet on Gary's show.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I mixed up some of my comics in the stack.
It doesn't matter. It just has to be 10. It doesn't have to be a specific order.
Well, it's not that it's a specific. I picked up the wrong. So I picked All New Wolverine, but I picked the wrong one. So I was going to pick issue 2. That is Honey Badger's first appearance, which I do have. But I think I just grabbed it because I saw that Honey Badger Gabby is on it. And I was just like.
And Doreen Green. It's got Squirrel Girl, bro.
I love the issue with Squirrel Girl and Laura and Gabby. So like, honestly, like this is totally fine. But Gabby is one of my favorite characters as well. Again, it's the younger characters that like have to kind of go through the challenges of like being a superhero, and the whole thing with like Gabby is that she's like really fierce and also kind of mean, but is like trying to figure out how to be good and like have emotions and feelings. And so I loved Gabby more than I liked Laura at many points throughout the All New Wolverine series. Yeah, I was a huge fan.
See, and I thought, when it first came out, you're like, oh, they're making another copycat character. And then you start reading it, you're like, oh my gosh, I like this character better than the original character. She's so good.
Mm-hmm. She's so funny.
Yes. And fierce, like makes Wolverine look like a little kitty cat, just all tame. Like I just love the fierceness of her attitude.
Absolutely. There's like certain scenes that are my favorite where she, again, like will strike a kind of innocent chord, and she'll just like look at someone with doe eyes and then all of a sudden just like slash them and like go really deep. And she'd be like, but what? And you're just like, I love you so much. Like such a fun character.
And then I thought she was portrayed so well in the Logan movie.
I haven't seen the Logan movie.
You haven't?
I haven't seen
the Logan movie. You will love her portrayal. She is mean and fierce and a threat anytime she's on the screen.
So that's what it was called, not Origin. It was called Logan.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I just recently, like within the last year or two, watched Logan.
Mhm.
Because basically everybody was saying the same stuff that Gary was saying, like, it's so good, you need to watch it, rah. And like I was like, fine, I'll do it. And it was really good. Like
Right.
surprisingly, shockingly, is this associated with Marvel good? Like it was really good.
Okay,
Like
I need to pick it, or I need to watch it because
And
it's
she's in the
Disney
entire
Plus.
film. It's not like a cameo. She is integral to the story.
yeah, it's gritty. It's not like a Disney
Wow.
type thing. It's very
Yeah.
gritty.
You will see Wolverine pop his claws and put them through skulls, and she does the same.
I am excited to watch it. Then I would prefer a grittier.
It
version.
is, but I really enjoy it.
Definitely a very sad ending, but we're not going to spoil it for Haley right here.
Me,
The
I will
ship
just.
sinks.
I'm a weepy person. I'm a very weepy person, so I'll probably cry if it's
Well,
a
you better have a few tissues, because it's good. But there's a lot of sad moments in that movie, though. With Professor X is in it, and he's old and he's kind of got Alzheimer's, and he goes
He's
in
like-
and out.
He's
And
wrestling with
Logan-
his sanity.
And
He's
Logan's
kind of
got to
not
help
knowing what's
him,
real
try to
and
keep
what's
him
not.
contained. Yeah, because he could kill everybody if he has a bad senior moment.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in that movie.
That's okay. So that is definitely on my list to
Logan. Make it
to
happen.
watch. Wow.
All right, number 4, Haley. What you
So
got for us?
Number 4. Here, sorry, I'm just like.
Oh, and One Shot saying Mrs. One Shot cried.
At Logan.
Yeah, I will be with Mrs. One Shot on that. I'll probably cry. So in the same vein, I picked up keeps
Ooh.
like the sticker on, but also NYX. I think this is the second appearance of Laura Kinney, and so I don't know. I was really excited to just get a key, like a major key for her, because the first is just like so out of my price range. And then I was able to snag this at Little Giant Comic Show. And I don't know, it just felt really cool to like, I have like certain kind of like bigger books, but like in super low grade. So they're like within budget, but like to have like a bigger modern like thing for one of my favorite characters was like really cool because I like really love her. So, and I also didn't realize at the time when I picked this up, like I had never read this run before, and just like how like just like heavy it is. And that was because if you're reading like Tom Taylor's All New Wolverine and then you read this, you're like, wait, there's like it's like a total different direction tonally and like, you know, for her kind of like origin. So I really like
and
this.
art wise too.
Yeah. So I have most of the full run, and then I bought the like Marvel must-haves where it's like 1 through 3. So that way I could have like, you know, I could read it like all in paper format. So yeah. So this is something that I'm just like really proud to have in my PC. So.
And I would love to see Marvel make not just a movie of her, but I'd like to see a Marvel series so we get a little bit longer with the character.
Yes.
Because I'm really liking the series because we get to spend more time with these characters. Like the Miss Marvel series was so good. I loved every episode. It was so charming. The family was great.
Haley, if you could have your own series of like a character that you really like on Disney, who would it be?
That's so hard. That is so hard. I think so I feel like I would maybe do Dazzler. And the reason why is like I feel like her comics are so fun. They haven't done much with her since like her older like one like really long run. And
the 42 issues.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to build that series, and I have a ton of Dazzlers. And there's like a lot of hijinks and it feels super fun. But I feel like because they haven't done so much, like they could really take it and like do like they could bringing it to television, they could do so much with it because there isn't like a world of lore already built around her. Like there's that like one epic series, but then like there's so much like creative freedom to really like bring it up to speed and to like modernize her, but then to like keep her as like super fun. And I
have a pitch for her that I gave a few episodes ago.
Yeah, hold on. Let me
really?
it's interesting that you say Dazzler because Mr. Gary has also given his input in this very question, and he came up with the same title.
I love that so much. That
And
is.
now, I don't want her modern, right? This is the perfect opportunity for Marvel to do something different. Set Dazzler in the 70s, in the disco era,
Yes,
with the
that
classic
would be.
costume, with the music, and and did you read the whole 42 issue run? It has its ups and downs, but she whoops Terax.
I
She goes
haven't
around
read the
and
full
feels there's a
42
Hulk.
issues. I'm reading it as I like collect them. I don't want to like sit on my computer and read it. Like once I start collecting like a character, I almost like won't do the Marvel Unlimited. Like I will just try to find the books and then read them as I go. But I have a lot of Dazzler, so I've
There's
read
two
a good amount.
tie-ins to that series too. There's a 4 issue Beauty and the Beast follow-up to it, which is
I
her and the
didn't know that was
Beast.
the follow up.
Yes, that picks up after it ends. And there's also, which takes place kind of in the around the 27, 28 issue range, there's a Marvel graphic novel, Dazzler the movie. And it's not really her being super powered, but it's about a bunch of personal stuff with Dazzler.
That is so interesting because so at least for the Beauty and the Beast, I've been like wanting to get those. I've seen them sometimes at comic shops and I haven't picked them up, and I'm like really drawn to it, and I'm like I need to just get these, and so that is like now I need to really go buy them because that's awesome. I love her. I think you're totally right. Like it would be really cool to set in the 1970s, but yeah, that would be my. I just want to see them do something with her. And I feel like every attempt that they've done to like kind of like bring her forward or bring her like more modern, like hasn't really worked in the way of like her in the 70s. And so I'm curious to see she's coming up in Exterminators, I think it's the title that it's called. So I ordered that. So we'll see.
Well, that and like that little cameo in the last X-Men movie just wasn't enough.
Absolutely not. Like I want more of her always. Like I don't know. I feel like she's also just an underrated character. Like I really love her and I don't know why.
Right. Well, that and her, she's more powerful than people give her credit for with the sound. Yeah. But I'm sorry. Number
No,
5,
no.
Taylor.
Well,
I could
so
talk Dazzler all night. So
we should just do a show on Dazzler. Is
right.
what I think I see in our future. So it's funny that like you brought up the show. So Miss Marvel #1.
Nice.
This was like also I think maybe at one of like the more expensive books I had ever purchased. Like because I got it this past year before the show came out. But Miss Marvel, and this run specifically is like one of my favorite like runs I've ever read. And I love G. Willow Wilson and I love Miss Marvel. Like I feel like if there's ever a character that I've ever resonated with the most, it would be like Kamala Khan because of like she's such a fangirl and she's like so enthusiastic and she has really strong like ties to her family, and I'm like really like deeply family oriented. Like I have a really big family, and I don't know. I felt like a lot of the things that G. Willow Wilson had like written about with this character, I was like, oh, I really see myself in her, and so to like have like #1 was like really cool, and to have a first print, and so it felt like a big girl comic decision to like buy.
Right. I feel like that every time I get a comic I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Then I just sit there and look at it forever.
And I don't know about you, but if you have like certain books where like I kind of just want to find it either in the wild or like in person to see it, and so like that was also one of them. I didn't just want to order this off of like eBay, and so this was another one that I picked up when I went to Little Giant Comic Con. I had seen it and I was like, this is now mine. This is in the pile. So
See, that book for me was Marvel Spotlight 32, the first Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. And I had never seen it in the wild, right? And all of a sudden my LCS got it in, and it was in an 8.0. And at the time it was like it was a $200 slab. It's way more than that now. And I'm in with a lot of people on Instagram. I go, look, I had some turtle books that I don't care about. They just ended up in my collection, but I'm not a turtles guy.
yeah.
And I'm like, look, I need to move this book to pay for this book. And a bunch of these guys like, yeah, man, I got comics, Jimmy Jam's Garage Sale, Digger Jam, just the whole crew on there, all pulled together. And I ran a raffle, sold that book in 15 minutes, had the money, called my comic shop and said, don't move that book, ran down there and got that Grail. And like, I still pull it out to this day and go, oh.
So I just realized when we were back in the green room, you said Jessica Drew. I thought you were talking about Jessica Jones. And
No.
because I collect Spider-Woman as well. So like I was like, you just said that and I was like, oh wait, that's like Spider-Woman, like not Jessica Jones. And so like that's yes, I am also, we have very similar taste is what I'm saying. And this is really fun. And we should just do a Spider-Woman show as well because
yes.
I got her first solo a couple months back. And I remember like even picking that up, I was like, this is so exciting. Like, I can't believe I have this. I picked it up when I was in New Jersey going to like comic shops and they had it on their back wall. And I was like, I spotted it and was like, I had never seen that also in person before either. And I was like,
oh, Spider-Woman 1?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's funny with that too, right? Because that's not even her second appearance, her third or fourth or her fifth. Because did you get the Marvel 2-in-1s that have her?
No, I didn't. I'm like still like my collection is very baby.
That's her second appearance, and it's a great 4-issue arc where she's still in the old costume. She's still brainwashed by Hydra, and she's going after Alicia, Ben Grimm's girl, and he's got to save Alicia and save Spider-Woman.
That is awesome.
We're going to cost you a lot of money tonight.
I think it's Marvel 2-in-1 issue 14, right?
No, 29, 30, 31, and 32.
That is, yeah, I'm gonna like message you. I'm like, can you just like send me a list of like things that I need to be purchasing? Because
on 29, she's just on the last page. That's like the big reveal. She's in this thing like held captive. And then they set her loose to kill Alicia.
That's awesome. That sounds like such a fun like story arc too to like read. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm so excited by this.
What am I thinking of?
I'm with Chris Chettle here.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I love Tigra too.
I've never read like any Tigra. Like, does she have like? I know that she's in the Dazzler series. I know that there's like an appearance and whatnot, but I have not. Does she have like a solo Tigra?
She had a mini series.
Okay.
And she was also in Marvel Chillers, issues 3 through 7.
Mm-hmm. Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see if I've got some Tigra over here next to me.
Caroline's got us all beat, Haley. She's got everything.
Oh, I'm quite aware. So after we like first connected, her and I were just like sending videos of our collections, which my collection is like, I don't know, like 7 boxes. And then like she was like, it was like video after video after video. And I was like just watching it, like drooling. And I was like, I just want all of these. Like, I just want all.
Right? And then you see the kind of book that she has. You're like, all right, don't get in a flexing contest with Caroline. You'll go home. Absolutely
not. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be getting in a flexing contest with literally anyone. My collection's still so like small. But like it's small. But then I think about how much I've accumulated in such a short amount of time that I'm like, what is it going to look like in just like 3 years? Like, oh my God.
All right, Southern. Look, Southern, he says I like flexing, but you're the one that posted your Hulk 1 through 6, brother. I don't want to hear it. Did you get this? Did you get the Miss Marvel and Wolverine?
Oh, obviously. Like anything that Miss Marvel, like I'm buying it. Like
actually, I thought of you when I saw this because you were talking about how like Miss Marvel #7 or the one with her and Wolverine is like
you got the Captain Marvel and Moon Girl too, didn't you?
I got Avengers. Oh yes.
I mean, as soon as I saw Carol Danvers, it was all over. I was getting that book.
I got this one.
Oh, that's so pretty.
This one.
I always think, okay, here's the thing. I had to limit myself. I almost got the second Captain Marvel that you pulled up, but I also purchased, it's an indie, but Love Everlasting by Tom King. And I bought like 4 of the variant covers. I was like, they're all so pretty. And I was on the Substack and I loved the like first few issues. So I think that's going to be one of my favorite series. Like I can't wait to just like purchase them all.
I loved Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It was one of the best stories last year.
So good.
I loved Tom
And it made you
King's
view the character in a
Vision.
way you've never viewed her before, and it was so good just to have like I don't know, it was so great. And the kid character, which most writers don't pull off, and it comes across cheesy, didn't. She like fit into the
Hmm.
story, and then the ending was so great, and it was such a good run.
It was great. I mean, Tom King's one of my favorite. Yes,
Exactly.
favorite writers is Lady Fantastic's pulling up Vision. So Vision is like, I loved that run.
Same.
And I love I picked up Miracle Man and Strange Adventures, and I've been like loving Love Everlasting, like just Tom King in general. I was like, it's so good.
And I just want to highlight what Bobby De La Ghetto said, because I was about to say it myself as well. And it's not the size of your collection. It's the whole thing about comics is the joy of reading and connecting with the characters. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you started yesterday or you're starting tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you go back generations. As long as you're enjoying it, it's your hobby.
Don't
Absolutely.
listen to her.
Don't let anyone make you feel
collection
bad about
packs a
what you
punch.
enjoy.
She's got some bangers. She's got some bangers for sure.
And I got a video coming up because I got pages of notes I was making, because I'm going to make a video about the hobby of collecting, and just
Oh, that's so cool.
it'll just be this old guy talking, that's all. But
That'll be super cool either way. I look forward
and,
to seeing it.
oh, thank you. Let's get to number 6.
Okay, yeah. So the Avengers 75. This is one of my favorite like covers, period. Like, I love the way that Scarlet Witch is drawn. It reminds me of like the old school, like, I don't know, like, wouldn't say like pinup women, but just like old school, like
Good
movie
girl art.
stars. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I love like just like everything about it. Quicksilver and
They're coming out of the page. Yeah.
coming out of the page, the white background. Yeah, I love. And not too often do you get, or at least that I've seen, so I could just not really know, but Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch on the covers. So I love seeing them. And then I love like the font too. All of it.
Yeah, the trade dress is great. And Caroline and I were just talking before you jumped into the backstage about how we love the old action lines on the old comics and how they don't do that now. Like like with them
The
leaping or running.
Atlas, they're back. Like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I'm like, yes. I want to get this book in. So they say it's graded at like a 7.75, which is really cool. I want to get white pages though. Thank you, Cor. I haven't seen you in a while. I miss you. Cor, he's usually in my chats, so I haven't like done a lot of live streams lately, so it's cool to see some people. But yeah, I just discovered what like comic book white pages looks and feels like, and it's a disaster. Now I'm like, I want all white page old comic books.
Now, Haley, we're going to go off on another tangent here.
Yes, I love tangents.
You said you're a new collector, but what introduced you to comics? How did that happen?
So I say I'm a new collector, but like when I was really young, I collected comics, like really, really young. So about 10, 11, 12. There was this old shop called Yesterday's, right by Wrigley Field, that doesn't exist anymore. And it was like this antique shop where you could get like collectibles and toys, and they would have these boxes of $1.50 comics that were also like, you know, Patsy Walker, Katie Keene, Little Lulu, Sad Sack and Sarge, Peanuts, Pink Panther. And my aunt would watch me during the summer when I was a kid, and my dad would give me like $1 or $2, and then we would walk over there from the apartment, and I would be able to pick out like a couple comics. And my dad always saved the comics. Like, he put them in like a little box for me, and he would take me to Free Comic Book Day when I was younger. So like I collected for a couple of years, and I used to read manga, especially when I was younger. And then I kind of like started just like reading novels, and I kind of dropped off. And I want to say in college, I had picked up comics here and there and read them, but like never collected. I started collecting when I was in the pandemic, and I had watched like all of the Marvel movies. And I had seen Vision and like Scarlet, like WandaVision. And I loved Wanda. And then I just was like, now I want to know everything. Like, I want to know everything about her. I want to know her origins. And so I kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I'd picked up House of X, Power of X by Hickman. And it was just kind of from there, like, exploded. But I went to my dad's house a couple months ago. He still had the box. I remember being a teenager telling him to throw it out. Thank God he didn't. And in it, it's just like these old Patsy Walkers that I now have that I'd actually bought as an adult. When I started collecting again, I was on eBay. I was really drawn to a specific cover, and I realized it was like, I went to my dad's and I was like, oh, I've repurchased this as an adult, and I had bought it when I was a kid. And like it must have just stuck somewhere in the back of my brain, which was like really crazy. And I had like old Sensational She-Hulk, and like there was a bunch of like, they're all in like the worst condition, like falling apart. But like, you know, it's really cool to see like that's what I was reading.
And I'm really excited for the She-Hulk show because I have the whole Savage She-Hulk run, and I love that run. And Mike Vosberg did great things on it, and he gets no credit for what he added to that series with his art. And but I want to see a little Savage She-Hulk. I just don't want to see Attorney at Law. I want to see the Jennifer Walters that if she wants something, there isn't anyone standing in her way to get it, because even her dad didn't stand in her way. She put him to the side, everyone else to the side to get what she wanted accomplished in that first series. It was fantastic. Nobody got in her way.
I haven't read it. Like, I mean, I think I have some, like, again, She-Hulk from when I was a kid, but my memory is awful. I can't remember that. But I'm excited for the show to, like, see, because I don't know too much about her character. I've been reading the recent series that has come out, but so that's exciing. I hope we get the Savage She-Hulk, too. I want to see her act, like, really crazy, too.
I
mean, you got to show her. You got to show her power.
Which
one do you want, Caroline?
What?
Savage or sensational? We already know we're getting some sensational with the
clip. We're getting
she did the third break.
But it would be nice to see her like humble some large creature or something.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, or even if she just like got pissed with like Bruce, just to see her like put him down or something.
That would be really cool. I would love to see that.
All right, so number 7, Haley, what have you got?
Yeah, so kind of going along with what I was just talking about, issue 1 of House of X, and this is one of my favorite like scenes in like House of X where Magneto says, "You have new gods now." Like, I remember reading it, and I remember like having a very audible reaction as I was reading it. I was like,
oh shit.
I was like, he just went like threw down. That was like a mic drop moment. Like, yeah, I love Hickman. He's one of my favorite writers. The House of X, Power of X, like run is one of my favorite runs to date. And this is just one of my favorite covers. Cause like when I saw that they made a cover out of like that scene, I was like, I need this. Like, it's some, like, I know it's not, like, I would buy multiple of these just to give out to people because I love it so much, and I feel like everyone should have one in their collection. So yeah,
we all buy multiple covers of stuff we love. It's just how it is.
So that's mine. I love this series.
Now, who besides Magneto, because he's the easy go-to, who is your favorite X villain?
Ooh, I love. Was it Mr. Sinister? Yeah,
he's badass. He's mean.
He's so mean, but he's like also
calculating
so funny
and intelligent.
And, like, yeah, I really like him. Yeah.
And he's got that vampire look to him too, so he's got that menacing look.
Yeah, and I'm like, you can never or honestly, Apocalypse. Like, I also really, 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 really love Apocalypse because like he's just like, he's obviously so old and has seen so much. So there's like this kind of like wisdom, but like also this like disconnectedness because of that, and like how he just like doesn't care because like nothing really, like, it doesn't matter to him in the way that it matters to like everybody else because of the kind of lifespan. And I don't know, I feel like I've really liked where they've taken Apocalypse and just like I don't know. I find him just super fascinating in all the iterations that I've read recently. Even in Tom Taylor's, what is it called? The series.
X-Men Red?
No. It was like it's not in continuity. It's the Tom Taylor side. Oh gosh, it's gonna bother me. Where it's like the apocalypse happened and like all of the power and like electricity of like the Marvel universe is gone and like it's years in the future.
Days of Future Past?
No. It's
Age
new.
of Apocalypse.
Nope.
Oh.
It's new. It came out like this past year. It's not Dark. No, Dark Knights of Steel is the DC.
Oh, Dark Ages, Dark
Ages. There we go. So Dark Ages, and I love how Tom Taylor wrote Apocalypse in Dark Ages too. Like again, yes, there you go, Ignacio. Like, yeah, I also really loved that. Like, in every iteration, Apocalypse is like just terrifying.
Do you know who created him?
I have his first appearance. Wouldn't it be Chris Claremont? Would it be Chris Claremont?
Louise Simonson. Wheezy.
Yeah, the old Marvel staple. One of the building blocks of Marvel.
Yeah, and did you know that like House of Secrets 92, the first appearance of like Proto Swamp Thing or whatever, the girl, do you know the girl like that's looking out their window or looking? You know so on the cover, there's a female on the cover of House of Secrets 92. Whoever drew that, Wrightson, or I can't remember, but she was the model. That was Louise Simonson.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you could say House of Secrets' is first appearance of Swamp Thing or Louise Simonson.
Or Louise, which is cooler. Louise.
Yeah.
Hold
that's
on,
her.
I'll show you the cover, Haley, so you know what we're talking about.
That's so cool. I've never actually seen that before.
Yeah, and then if you go to Google and type in like Louise Simonson from like the 70s or whatever, but like and Walt Simonson, like he was a great artist, and if you hear them talk about like how they like loved each other, she was like, I love the way he drew hands. It's so funny. Like
that's so cute.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome. Well, learn something new every day. That's so cool. I've never seen that cover before, and I had no idea.
Apocalypse is a badass. I love him too.
And that bullpen back then, man, they were just putting out so much stuff.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. I mean, there's just so much to like. I haven't even brushed the surface, honestly, of like especially older Marvel. Like I'm just like still really learning. Like people can like pull out titles and like key appearances, and I go to comic shops and I'm like, I kind of like still don't really know what I'm looking at, like unless I already, it's like something that I know I'm collecting and like I've been looking for, but I can't just like go through bins and be like, oh, this and this and this. And that's not where I'm at.
That's so much fun though.
Yeah.
Like you're in the discovery phase, and everything you find out, it's just like, oh, it just enriches the hobby.
I'm like the, what is it? Like the either mind blown emoji or the one that's like melting. And like, that's me. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Well, I don't think that ever changed, because I feel like you still learn new stuff all the time.
Especially with YouTube now.
Yes.
And like I learn from other YouTube creators all the time, like just about every day. It's always something fun. Like I just learned that from you, Caroline. I know about the House of Secrets 92. I did not know she was the model for that, though.
Yes, that's Louise Simonson.
Cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8, Haley, what have you got for us?
Okay, so Vision and the Scarlet Witch, number 1. Okay, so this was gifted to me by one of my friends. So this is the first time I've ever experienced white pages in an older comic book. So it has, and I like didn't understand like how cool that would be to hold something like a lot older and then to like it feel like it just came off the rack. And then I was like, I instantly want all of the like my favorite older comic books to have white pages. And so now I'm like looking at like my like eBay cart is like graded comics that I want to buy only to break open so that I could read them with white. I feel like everyone would like hate me if I just did that, but like I don't own a lot of graded comics in general, but I don't really buy them because I'd rather just like sit with them and like touch them and read them. But so I have like a dream of just like getting like giant the like wedding issue of Vision and Scarlet Witch like in a high like white pages and just like.
And I don't know about you, but I love the like you couldn't have cast them any better in my opinion than the two people that play them.
Yes.
One, they both play Vision and Scarlet Witch so well, but their chemistry together is
my
amazing.
favorite.
Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, just wow, yeah,
absolutely. I'm absolutely like I love their love story, and so but I have another copy that I purchased. So when I first watched WandaVision, I got the whole like 12-issue series like off of eBay, and it was like the first time I like actually purchased something like it was the first time I was like, I actually want to collect comics and I want these like to own. I love how everyone is like, this is not an old book. I'm so sorry, guys.
That is because you got to remember, even 90s books are 30 years old now. It's crazy.
Yeah. So this is yeah. So that the run itself is like my first like, I'm going to collect comics. I want these. That was like the first thing I ever bought for myself. Was the Vision and Scarlet Witch, and then my friend gifted. It is so good. It's so good. Definitely recommend the whole.
I mean, I think we should sell a couple of your Steamboat Willies, Tyler, and buy it for her. He's a big Steamboat Willie collector,
Tyler. I had no idea. That's so cool.
But yeah, Vision and Scarlet Witch too. Now, did you love the series as well?
The
Disney Plus series?
Yes.
WandaVision.
Yeah. Oh. I loved it. I mean, it's what got me. Like, I had watched all of the Marvel movies, but it wasn't until WandaVision. Like, I went through the like chronological order. I watched them, and then I got to WandaVision and was like, yes, Love Everlasting is amazing. So good. If you haven't read it, go read it because it's so good. But yeah, I watched it, and it was like the first time I was like, I need to know more about this character. I don't know previous to that I felt the same way. I mean, I definitely was attached after watching like, I don't even know how many hours of Marvel films. Like I cried at like Endgame and Infinity Wars and things like that. But like WandaVision, I was like, I want to read absolutely everything about this character.
I just feel like they took it to the next level with WandaVision. They're like, okay, well, Disney's like, we're going to do this TV thing. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, all right. And then like WandaVision blew it out the damn park.
Well, right. You got to see her chaos power start actually being used. And I'm sorry, Haley, I'm going to take a quick picture here. Yeah. I'm not trying to take a picture of you, but you are setting a concurrent views record for me on my channel. So I am taking a picture of that.
I love it.
So that's like live people in the chat. So you set the record.
That like.
Yay. I'm excited.
Right? So you beat the old guy, Joe from Anachronic Comics by a couple people. So
gotta keep
I love
humble.
it.
But yeah, and I love that they brought her accent back in the show too. And not only that, I love that she ended up being the villain in the Doctor Strange movie, that we got to see that super dark side of Wanda.
Yes. So I'm going to say this, and don't kick me off your show. I wanted them to give her like the villain. Like she was always like, I felt like she was always going to be the villain because of like, after reading so much of her, like I wanted to see that. I also hated Multiverse of Madness though. I thought the script writing was really poor. Like I wanted so much more for both her character and America Chavez, like in terms of the writing and dialogue. Like I understood like it's Sam Raimi, so like you're gonna get all of the horror aspects, and like that was fine. It's not my jam. Like I'm not a huge horror person in general, so like I don't know that I was ever going to love it because of that. Mm-hmm. But I felt like with WandaVision, the writing was so good and so nuanced that when it came to Multiverse of Madness, I was like, where is that nuanced version of her? Where it's not her just like, I know that she's like off the rails and like hysterical and like is all about her kids, but I felt like the dialogue itself was like really cheesy and like one note. And I just like, I wanted so much more for her being my favorite character. So I really did not like that movie, and I was so disappointed.
Aw.
But it's okay because Marvel redeemed itself for me, at least with this Marvel the show, because I thought that was literal perfection. So
It was. So before we get to number 9, let's talk about Miss Marvel a second.
yeah,
Because I hadn't read any of the books with her, just the Marvel Rising that we were talking about
oh
before.
wow,
So that was my only reading of her. And I was always intrigued, especially since I like the Marvels, like this current Captain Marvel run. I really love that they brought Binary back, and the way they did it was so clever. But that series, Miss Marvel, all these people are hating on it, and I watched it. I was hooked from the first few minutes, and everyone on that show was so charming. The cast was charming. I loved every time we spent time with her and her family together. I was just smiling the whole time.
Mhm.
And by the time every episode ended, I was like, already?
I know.
I have to wait a week.
I wanted so much, I wanted to binge it. I wanted more episodes. Yeah, I felt like, so I was super nervous when I found out that they were changing so much because I had read so much of Miss Marvel. And then I felt like Miss Marvel is the perfect example of how you take a comic and adapt it and make it stronger for television, because what they ended up doing was deepening and enriching the story. And I had listened to an interview with one of the writers, and how they saw it was these layers and levels. So in this level it speaks to the general audience, and this it speaks to a Muslim audience, and in this it's a Southeast East Asian audience, and you can kind of get narrower and narrower, but in an overall way that it's still speaking to this general audience, but people who don't often see themselves represented in a certain kind of way, or have just large media representation, are then able to see that and really see themselves. And it's not cutting people out. I think it was disappointing to see people criticize it for feeling like it was meant for a younger audience, because that's the whole point. Miss Marvel is a teenager who's then not meant necessarily for, it's not that older people can't resonate. I'm older, and I find myself in her and all of a lot of the things that I'm reading, but I think that there's something to appreciate the fact that we can have a whole multiverse of the characters of different ages and genders and ethnicities, and then also have something for the younger audience. And I'm so excited for the younger. I hope they bring the Young Avengers, and they're my favorite.
And that's one of the things too. Well, first I'll say that I'm a 52-year-old man and I love the series. But I think one of my biggest things, if I had to complain about our hobby and what we watch, is I don't like that sucks culture. Just because something's not directed at you does not mean it sucks. It just means it's not for you. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it bad. It just means you don't connect with it. I'm not a big DC guy. I don't say DC sucks. I just connect with Marvel characters more. That doesn't mean that what's going on at DC, there's not brilliant stories happening and these characters are being treated well. I just have the characters I connect with. And I just hate when somebody watches a movie or they see a character. Oh, I gotta. And they're instantly that sucks. No, it doesn't suck because you don't connect with it. It's just not for you. And it's okay for something not to be for you.
Absolutely. Because
and people just don't get that it doesn't have to be for you. It's okay if it's not. There's other people out there watching stuff. They're allowed to enjoy the content too.
Well, and that's the biggest aspect of how I honestly, I walked away from Multiverse of Madness.
Tyler sucks. Sorry.
I pointed as you said that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Haley. I was just picking on Tyler.
Multiverse of Madness, I was genuinely so upset after coming out of the theater, but so many people loved it, and it's a lot of people love Sam Raimi and they love horror, and that really hit for them, and I was all right, on to the next, because that's for me at least, but that doesn't mean it was for me it didn't hit, but that doesn't mean it's not for other people, because Miss Marvel was honestly a 10 out of 10 for me, or Loki or some of these other ones. It's like I have still so much to like pick from, and we have the whole world of comics. So it's like, okay, maybe I didn't love Multiverse of Madness, but I could also go read all of the Wanda comics and like Scarlet Witch comics and like feel very happy inside. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
and
it's
it's like not all comics are written for everybody. Like comics
that's-
are for everybody, but
Right.
there's a spectrum
Mhm.
that we can all appreciate.
But
And-
that's the great thing about comics, right? Is that there's such a glut of good stuff out there that there is literally something for everyone, no matter what you like to read, what genre you like to read, what age group characters you're attracted to,
Mhm.
whether it's in the indies, the big two, what
Yeah.
have you. There's literally something for everybody. And I don't think that's appreciated enough, that anyone from any walk of life can walk into a comic store and find a story that they can connect with.
Well, and it just gets really old when you hear people like wanting to like hate on a show even like before it's even come out, or even just like an episode or two in there, and it's just like, okay, well, just because this show isn't catered to your specific tastes as an individual doesn't make it inherently bad, right? It just
I
makes
love
it
Alf One Shot. No, you're absolutely right, Caroline. And, just, you
like,
can't.
okay, so for me, I'm not a big Harley Quinn fan or a Deadpool fan. People love those characters. Those characters have brought more people into comic shops just because, like, I think they're cool. And, like, if you think they're cool and that gets you to buy a comic book and then you get hooked, I'm not going to talk shit about it. Like,
No.
I
It
want
sustains
you,
the industry.
yeah, I want you to get hooked. And so I'm not going to hate on the stuff that I want you to get hooked on.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think like how boring it would genuinely be if every comic was written with this idea in mind to speak to absolutely everyone, because then you're never able to get like detailed and niche, and you're never able to like bring like diverse identities to like a story. Like,
No personal connections.
exactly.
You can't
like,
talk to anyone
While
if you
trying to
try to
talk-
speak for everyone.
Exactly.
Right?
And so I feel like I also just like how beautiful it is that I'm also one of those people who in terms of like comics, I know a lot of people like the purity of comics of like, oh, that like character has been changed or whatever. But I think the comic book industry is one of like the industries that I feel is like so unique in the fact that it is built on like so much of like a foundation and like a lore and a history. But as like decades go by, you get all of these different writers from different generations who get to like make different iterations and reimagine these characters that like maybe they're shifting it and molding it in a way that speaks more to them. And I understand that people can get like frustrated. They're like, oh, but this is not the Superman or the person that like I grew up with or that I really liked. But I think about like, well, if you only got that for like 70 years, like you're gonna run out of things to like discuss or talk about or see. Like you still have them, they still exist, but like how awesome to like see the creativity of people. Like I just look at it as like someone is like using all of their creative juices and like bringing them to the page, and now we have like this really cool version, and like it doesn't erase anything, but it just adds to it and builds like more into it. And so that's why I like comics so much, is like you get to like you have different writers writing Kamala Khan. So like now there's like all of these iterations of her, from Rising to like the regular Miss Marvel or the Marvel team, like Miss Marvel team ups. Like those are all different versions of her, and like how cool it is to see that. I don't know. That's my soapbox.
Right. Well, and no, it's fantastic too, because the thing with that is, and you touched on the point, and it's a point I try to make as well. Like, and you can compare it to movies, right? So you see like Alien, you love Alien, you love Aliens. All of a sudden, you don't like Alien 3 or Alien 4. Oh, the franchise is ruined. Well, no. If you love the first two movies, those haven't changed. They're still great movies.
Mm-hmm.
In the original run, like I was telling you, I'm a big, I think the Captain Marvel run now is one of the strongest runs in comics, in my opinion. The last Jessica Drew one, Spider-Man one, it was okay, but it wasn't as good as like the Dennis Hopeless run or the original run to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't taint those. Those runs are still there for me to read and enjoy.
Yeah.
And there were still things I enjoyed out of the new one that are different enough.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to try it different. If you don't like it, you still have the original material that you did like. It that doesn't change it. It's still there. You can still read it.
Absolutely.
But I'm sorry. Number 9. We went off on a big old like
Okay.
20-minute tangent there.
No, it's okay. So 9 and 10. So 9 and 10 are like the same. Like they're
Okay.
or like not the same, but they're like combined together because it's like one, part 2. So it is X-Men 141 and 142, Days of Future Past. So the reason, like, because also like I feel like I've been giving long stories for all of them, but the reason that these mean so much is that I one, like, obviously just like the Kitty Pryde, and I felt like the story was just like fascinating, like just like such good storytelling. But then I had hunted for these like for a while, and I was calling all of the shops in Chicago. Again, one of those books that I didn't really want to buy on, but like 2 books I didn't want to buy online. And I had called a comic shop down in the south side of Chicago, and they had just gotten a collection in. They just got these. They hadn't even processed them. They were holding them. It was getting close to C2E2 of last year. Chris Claremont was coming, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to like meet Chris Claremont. Like, this was like such a big deal. I had called my dad, and we were just talking about like comics in general and this stuff. And he was like, what if I got you those for Christmas? And you can go get them signed. And my parents aren't huge readers. Like, I grew up like reading a lot, and my parents would not, like, again, wouldn't really read. And so like they never bought me books growing up, like for gifts. Like they would take me to the bookstore and things like that, but never bought me gifts as books, because they were like, I don't know what you read or what you would like. And so there's been few times in my life where my dad has bought me like a book that's been very special. And so like this is the first comics that he like ever bought me, and my dad's like my best friend. I love him so much. So like it's just like really like these are really special because like they were a gift from him. And then like I met Chris Claremont, and then I got him signed, and like just like the whole story. So all of it is like, yeah, super, super, super special to me. So they're never leaving my collection.
All right. You broke the record 3 times tonight, Haley.
What?
Yeah, on the views, on the people in the chat. So awesome!
Yay! That's awesome.
Those are great books. And of course, one of the classic covers.
Mm-hmm. I love this cover so much. It's so good. It's so good.
That's the peak, man. Doesn't get better.
It doesn't.
I think issue 143 is the last one Byrne is on, isn't it?
Really?
Issue 133.
Now, did you get?
John Byrne's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Caroline. Did you get to spend time talking to Chris Claremont at all?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. So I had talked to him last year. He's so funny. You get him like talking on a topic, and he'll just like go. Like he'll leave you in the dust. He'll just like, share all of his thoughts, which is really cool because of like how prolific he is. So last year when I talked to him and I like brought these, we had talked about Magneto, because like I love, more than anything, I love characters that are not like, all good or all bad. They're like live in this gray area, which is why Scarlet Witch and Magneto are like endlessly fascinating to me. And he talked about how much he loved him and like how he had written him and had given him like the origin that he did. And that was really fascinating. And then this year I talked to him, and he we talked about Kitty Pryde, and he just expressed a lot of disappointment and how it's like how Kitty is written and where the X titles are currently going. And I think it has to be so hard being an older writer who is like so prolific and established, and to have written the X-Men and to see it shift and change in a way that maybe doesn't feel aligned with how you saw that vision. And like, I know that he's someone who has mentioned, like, I would love to continuously write for Marvel, and they don't obviously utilize him a ton. They focus like on newer writers. So I think it was just like interesting to hear like how he feels about it currently. So yeah, but he's a really, really sweet person, and like, we'll always like sit and chat with like any fan about all of the stuff. So,
and we have a little fest here called Empire Comic Fest, which my artist friend Ken Wheaton started, and he's had 3 conventions so far. They've all done better than the last. So we've had some good guests. We had Keith Williams up, who was the kindest human you'd ever want to meet. And also Mike Grell was up. But last year it was Jim Shooter, and I actually got Jim Shooter, and Haley, he's Chewbacca tall. Like he is so tall. He's Chewbacca
That's
tall.
amazing.
But a super nice guy. They sat down, and of course they all like to tell stories, so it's easy to get them going because they've got so much experience in the field, right? And so much has happened in their careers. But I got him to sign my first appearance Dazzler and my Dazzler #1.
Nice.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Do you have the I just not just, but like a couple month or so ago got the Dazzler #1 with the error page.
I had that too. Yep. The one where it's in black and white.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know about that one.
Yeah, I remember finding it out, and then I was like, obviously, I need this. Like, the natural order of things. I'm like, I need to have this in my collection. Yeah, so those are my 10.
And you already did your spec, so
I did my spec. Yes,
you cheated. You went backwards.
I will tell you what my spec was. I have Marvel Now Nova #1, Sam Alexander. So I just, like my spec is like the Young Avengers coming in and the Champions.
Right.
And so yeah. Yes. Okay, so the big middle one, the like statement piece is a Matt Taylor Mondo San Diego Comic-Con exclusive of House of X, Power of X. So you could actually, I have it one way where you can see Mystique and Magneto, but if you flip it, you could also see like the rest of the characters. So it's like you could either have it facing where it's like it reads House of X and then the bottom is Power of X, or Power of X and then House of X. That's whichever way.
Did he sign it too?
I think so. It's like numbered and everything. And it's beautiful. It has like a gold tint and it's like blue and orange, and it's an absolutely stunning piece. I saw it and I was like, I need this, because I went through, after reading Hoxpox, I kind of went through like, when you read something and you don't ever want it to end, and like I kept reading the X titles, but I was like, no, but I don't, this like specific arc, just like I reread it immediately, and then I was like, I want to own things that like are like inspired by it, because I got like pins of like Magneto and Professor X, and then I found that and I was like, I went on eBay and I paid for it, and then I got it framed. So it's like my favorite piece of art.
eBay is so easy. It's too easy sometimes.
It is. I have to stop myself. Like I haven't bought off of eBay in a really long time, because at this point I just try to like find things in my comic shops, or I've been going to cons a little bit more this year. So I feel like I'm trying to also not ever get into the place of like seeing something. Thank you. I love it. Yeah. I have a whole.
And you got Natalie telling you the same thing you already said. House of X and Power of X was so good.
It's so good. But I feel like Hoxpox. Yeah. Well, no, other people called it, so it's not something I made up. But I think that there's a moment where I'd get like a little bit of FOMO, like if I don't buy this now, like I'll never have an opportunity. And then I've just gotten to the point where it's like, a comic book will always be there. Like I will, for the most part, always be able to find it. Maybe it won't be as immediate if I like, and maybe it might be a little bit more expensive if I wait on something, but I try really hard to like reel it in so I don't ever feel urgency to purchase anything. Yeah.
Well, it's tough. I like to use eBay as a run filler. Like if I've looked for like a year and I can't find a back issue I need. Yeah. And it may only be $1 book, but I've already resigned to paying $7 for it because it's $6 shipping. But I'm going to get it because I want to finish the run. So,
what runs have you like tried to finish? I've been trying to finish all of the Miss Marvels, like Comic-Con runs, and then Dazzler, Spider-Woman are like the 3 runs that I'm working on.
Okay, so I got back into comics in 2019 because Conan the Barbarian was going back to Marvel. And I grew up with Conan and Spider-Man, and I'm a big Robert E. Howard reader. And I'm also a big Red Sonja fan from back in the 70s with Roy Thomas and them. So
I've never read Red Sonja, by the way. So
read the old Marvel ones, not the Dynamite ones.
Okay.
The Dynamites are so varied in quality. And they care more about how the character looks than who the character is. And it really detracts from the story a lot of times with what you do there, which is really disappointing to me.
Yeah.
She's a warrior. I want to see a warrior.
That's what has deterred me from reading it. I won't lie. The Dynamite ones, I was like, she just looks.
Right.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're just throwing anyone on the title, and it's kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But so since 2019, I've completed Conan the Barbarian. I started fresh again. All right, so that was all 275 issues, the 12 annuals, the 5 giant sizes, the treasury editions. I completed King Conan, which was 55 issues. The original Spider-Woman run, Dazzler,
You
Rom
completed
Space
Dazzler?
Knight.
That's awesome.
Dazzler was a must. Rom Space Knight, which I'm a big fan of.
Really?
Micronauts. Yeah, and some of these cool things, like you can't get them in collected form because it was licensed, right? You can't buy a collected compendium of ROM. You can't do that with Micronauts. You either have them or you don't have them because they were licensed through Hasbro, so they don't have the reprint rights to them. That's why when you read some of your compendiums, like Spider-Man's or something, they won't have a character that guested that was on a TV show or something else, right? Because they don't have the rights to them anymore, and they can't reprint them. But I've completed so many. I just tons. But completing the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman was really big for me because I was always a fan. Completing Dazzler was big. I'm like, people are gonna think I'm nuts. I'm like the only Dazzler fan out there, and I keep meeting more and more now because, I'm like, come on, give me more Alice and Blair. This poor girl is just trying to make ends meet, and now she's a superhero. And
so good.
Right? And I love the original Miss Marvel too, like when she was, publishing the magazine at the Daily Bugle and having to put up with Jay Jonah's bullshit and get through her every day like that, plus be a superhero, plus struggle with everything else, the romantic problems that were going on in her life. But I've completed a lot in a couple years, and it's just been a fun journey rediscovering it. And honestly, being on YouTube has made it so much more fun because what we have now that we didn't have then is a community that we can share our passion with. In our regular lives, if you like comics, at least when we were growing up, there wasn't someone that you knew right next to you that liked comics as well, and you couldn't talk about it. You would read this great story and then have nobody to share it with.
Yeah.
When you're just itching to get out, oh my gosh, did you see what happened and blah, blah, blah. Like imagine reading your favorite Kitty Pryde issue and you don't have anyone to turn to and discuss it with.
That's exactly why I joined YouTube, like 100%. Like my whole reason of joining like YouTube and Instagram as like ChiComicGirl was because I had zero friends that like read comics, and I was like, I need people to talk to. Oh, that's so awesome! She-Hulk and Dazzler.
Oh, plus I feel I buy a bunch of, so what I'm a sucker for too, Haley, and this is a rabbit hole, but it's a fun one. I love all the old 4-issue Marvel miniseries. So
that is a rabbit hole.
It is, but they're so much fun. Like Hercules, Prince of Power. You had Namor. I got the 12 issue of that, the 4 issue of that.
Wow.
There's a 4-issue Vision and Scarlet Witch I have.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I got to get that one still. But the 4-issue runs, they're great. They're fun. And easy to complete. And DC has the same things. Like I completed Night Force. I completed, I'm a big Roy Thomas fan.
Mm.
So I completed Arak, Son of Thunder, which was a 50-issue run. Plus just Arion. I completed that first original run. So
wow.
And a lot of those I completed out of dollar bins, right? They're runs that nobody pays attention to by these incredible creators, these incredible writers. Like Night Force was like 17 issues. You have Gene Colan on it. And, just why wouldn't you want to read it, right? Arak, Son of Thunder, 50 issues. It's Roy Thomas and Danny Thomas, his wife, and
oh wow,
just such such great things, and people overlook the dollar bins all the time. And
That's
if
how I
you
got a
just have,
lot of my
right,
Fantastic Four.
yeah,
That's
and
how I
if you
got a
have
lot
a
of my
love of
Dazzler.
reading, it's there for you.
Yeah. No, that's how I got a lot of my Dazzler. I was like, I feel like I hadn't really heard anyone talk about her. And I was like, I want to know more about her. And I want to read. And I kept like seeing the covers were really cool. And it seemed like the story was really fun. And I was like, oh, okay. Like 100%. Also like, just like any woman superhero, I'm just like absolutely like inclined to read. So yeah, that's so cool. I love hearing like what people are working on in terms of like collections, because it's just like, I mean, it's such a commitment to like try to like finish like a whole like run of something, and then especially if it's really like long. And so yeah.
Well, and we have an artist right here too, Dan Wallace, right? Who one of the last books I got to complete my Savage Sword of Conan magazine run, which was 235 issues plus an annual. He did one of the later issues. I think it was 231 or 232, and there's the lower print one. And I just finished that this year, and just it was a fun accomplishment. And I don't know how much you've completed yet, Haley, but when you complete a run, it is the best euphoric feeling. You're just like, oh, I
I
got it
haven't
all.
completed anything yet. So like think I'm really close to oh, actually that's a lie. I completed Magnificent Mrs. Marvel. So I completed that run, which was like super awesome, like to just like go through and like see that I have everything. The first two runs of Miss Marvel I haven't completed yet. And then I feel like with Dazzler, I could have completed it, but I need to like log the books that I have, because I've rebought. Like one of my like best friends, Candace, she also is a YouTuber. We were joking around the other day when we were at C2E2 is that we often buy each other books, and she also collects Dazzler and she also collects Miss Marvel. So like between the both of us, we're like, did I buy that for you? Did I buy that for myself? Is it in your collection or is it my collection? And then we never know. And then we just end up like rebuying so many comics. And I'm like, whatever. I have like, extra copies to just like give away to like a person who like will end up appreciating it. Like I feel like I have like a box of things where I'm like, whomever this is going to be for, like to send AOKs and things like that. But yeah.
Right,
So
and I'm a comic snob. I will spend all day in the dollar bins buying
awesome.
issues that nobody else wants to read that I will go home and enjoy like it's gold.
That's awesome.
And we were talking about Dazzler, and I was telling you about the Beauty and the Beast. You could also get that in a soft cover trade and a hardcover trade. It was available back in the day. I happen to have the floppies and I have the hardcover, so I got lucky with both.
That's awesome.
That's a darker read. That 4-issue. That's a darker read with her and Beast. There's a little bit of torture and everything else going on.
What? I'm excited to read it. Lady Fantastic. What are some of the books that like you or the collections runs that you're trying to complete?
Oh man, so I'm working on I'm trying to complete my John Byrne Fantastic Four, which is issues 232 through like 293. I only have like maybe 2 or 3 issues left. They're like randos in the 280s. And then I am working on just like Tradish Fantastic Four. I'm getting a little anal retentive about it. Working on my Hulks. I just got a couple of these, and I got like Hulk 320 and 263, just fillers that I need for my collection, Speaking
You got to get 201.
Huh?
201. That's where he fights a Conan knockoff.
I think I'm only have 202, but I know. Okay, I got you. This is so I picked up issue 25. I have a lot of different versions, but this is like the A cover.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the issue 25. Just all sorts of things. Oh, I found this. It was great. A Namor US Avengers #1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I only have one of those, and it's the Hellcat one.
I love Hellcat.
Oh, me too.
She's awesome. I think I've got one that's Tennessee. I can't even remember. I just picked up this because I have issues 1, 4, and 5 of Armor Wars. This is issue 3. So just trying to complete my little thing. And speaking of minis, got Baldur the Brave #1. Just picked that up.
Ooh.
He's a Thor character.
4-issue.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I already had this issue, but if I can find it for cheap, I'm going to pick it up again. But it's that Sam Alexander Nova where you have
Oh,
like
that's
him,
Miles.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's so
it's
cool.
just super cute.
You know, and
Just
that cover, like, put that cover up one more time, Caroline. What I love about the Kamala Khan character is it doesn't matter who's been drawn her. You see the care that she has for the people around her.
I
Like,
love it so much. Like,
yeah,
I feel like,
she's so empathetic.
yes, she is.
but like y'all, man, today. So before I like just a little bit before I got, I came on. I got done bagging and boarding. I went searching like for like a couple of hours at a place called McKay's, and I was telling Gary B. I showed him this. I found this for just like a couple of bucks, and it's in terrible condition. But this was like shoved in like the dollar bins. But it's issue 133 of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
What?
And this is just a classic Kirby cover. And yeah, it's just good stuff. It's somebody's drawn, a kid drew all over it, wrote 1970, but like, dude,
That little bastard.
yeah, little bastard.
Could
But
I
like,
Can I grab something really quickly? 'Cause I feel like
Absolutely.
okay, I'll be right back.
check out this variant, this X-Men variant.
Ooh, what's really going on in Westchester?
I know, I love it. It's like X-Men Marvels 19, and it says like, what does it say? Sue Storm's bridal shower. Captain America visits the White House. Janet Van Dyne talks about her childhood. And then, yeah, what's going on? What's really going on in Westchester? But I love, yeah. Look at that little bastard.
One shot. She's getting more wine. No, she's getting a book.
Yeah, I found this. Like, I know my buddy Al Dusty Brick Brown. He likes Battle of the Planets, and I found this for
Ooh.
$1.25. It's number 3, the Alex Ross one.
That's something I've never seen ever.
He says he loves
any
it.
comic shops. How old is that?
Like early 2000s, I want to say. Let me.
Yes, it is, Trev.
October 2002, first printing.
Okay, how many issues did that go, Caroline?
I don't know. Only my nerd friends just really like this one, and I don't know anything about it other than my friends like it.
Oh.
So I just got it for him because I was just like,
right.
Oh, I know he likes that. All right.
Oh. All right, what you got for us, Natalie?
Hey.
Okay, so because we've been talking Dazzler, I feel, and Spider-Woman, I feel like I had to show.
Yep, that's the one I got signed by Jim Shooter.
It's just such a fun cover.
It is.
The bomb.
Yeah. They have this at a 6570, which is pretty cool.
But it's an early direct. That's super rare.
Like, this is so crazy. And then
there you go. You know what's funny is that book's like $100 book now, and it's not even in short print.
I got it for I think, well, it says 60, but I think I talked him down to at least like 45, and it has
That's a better price
at an 8.0. So
yeah,
that should be a $30 book because it's just her first solo series, but it's what a great cover, right?
I love it. I love it so much. And then the Patsy Walker so I bought the 2 from my childhood that I thought I would show you. So the Patsy Walker that I bought over again, that I also have a Deadpool 75th anniversary Black Widow homage this is the Patsy Walker.
Ooh. The old romance homages.
Mm-hmm. And then this is also for my childhood.
Ooh.
So yeah, these were two that my dad had in the box that I would like immediately took out and bag and board, because let me tell you, they were not bagged and board.
See, that's a series I want to get. Do you know about the series called The Cat? It didn't run very long.
Mm-mm.
That's a Tiger one. And if you said you like Tiger too, and how many issues? It was like 4 issues, wasn't it, Caroline?
Yeah, only 4, I think.
And then it went into the Marvel Chillers where she actually became Tigra.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually had a cat costume, and it kind of reminds you of the Hellcat costume.
That's so cool. I want
to. That's the connection between that and Patsy Walker.
Patsy Walker.
Yeah.
I feel like I actually want to collect more Patsy Walkers and Katie Keens. Like, I love romance, and so, but I know.
Sorry.
No. I was like, I think going down the romance comic book rabbit hole is a dangerous one because it's pricey, from what I can tell, from what I see online.
I think a good affordable key for Hellcat is Avengers 144, and that's where she first appears in the Avengers title as Hellcat, right?
I have her first appearance, yes, but that's not that one.
Avengers 144 is her first appearance in Avengers as Hellcat, right?
Okay.
Patsy Wallace as Hellcat.
Because you also have the key, like the first Monica Rambeau in Avengers. You have all these first where someone first joins the team.
Yeah, her first appearance as Hellcat was Avengers 144.
That I have in a stack somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
that's George Perez. Goodness.
And then the other one that I'm down the rabbit hole of potential collecting. I have a couple issues, but is Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane. And this is a Cinderella one. So I have a couple of these, and they're just such fun covers and just really wacky themes. And I also love anything that's fairy tale related. So there's a New Mutants, Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
And it has Sleeping Beauty, or not Sleeping Beauty, Sleeping Beauty, yeah. And then so I found
cartoon characters, yeah. Little cartoon squirrels and birds and shit.
And there's some pricey issues in that run because that went on for a while. And then I love it's a little off track, but back in those old covers like that with Superman's pal and stuff, there's always the issues where Superman's just being a complete dick on the cover, and they're so funny.
I have one. Let me show you of him being such a big jerk and Batman in the corner sobbing. Wait, I have it.
Okay. I don't know. What about you, Carol? I always thought those were funny.
Oh yeah, I've got friends that have little sub collections of just Superman being a jerk.
This one. So he's saying, admit it, Lois, you were always jealous of Lana Lang because she was my childhood sweetheart when I was Superboy. So you murdered her. And then Batman's I'm the world's greatest detective. Yeah, I can't find any evidence to save Lois from the death house. He's just so stressed out, and he's such a dick.
That's such great art because you don't see much of his face, and it shows the emotion.
And I just love, again, I think the reason I purchased that is because Batman looks so stressed. And I'm how often do you get a cover of Batman just looking absolutely I don't even want to deal with this?
Right.
But yeah, and then this was the other one that I have, Lois Lane Shockers, Her in Prison, Ghost Lois Lane, X-Ray Vision. I also collect wedding issues. That's another thing that I collect. I love.
Do you have Avengers?
Namen, a DC super family where they had Supergirl getting married.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the issue though.
I don't have that. I have Lois Lane and Superman getting married. I have Jessica Jones and Punisher. I have Vision and Scarlet Witch. I have Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
Oh, so the Black Cat, the What If?
I don't have the What If. I want the What If. I don't have the What If.
Avengers Annual 4 you have?
Yes, that's the Scarlet and Vision, giant size. And then I have Kitty Pryde and Colossus in X-Men Gold.
Yep.
That's a great cover.
It is. It's beautiful.
He's just folded up into him, and he's just protecting her. Yeah.
makes me so happy. So yeah, those are like also like random. Like if I ever see wedding issues, typically I just pick them up and purchase them. I want to get the Storm and Black Panther wedding issue. That one I don't have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is it? Just like issue 18 or something.
Now,
Yeah.
do you have an all-time favorite cover that's just you just love it above all others?
Oh, that's so hard. I feel like I typically put them on my comic boxes. Honestly, it rotates, but I would say, oh, that's so hard. I would say so. One of the like my first favorite covers, at least, was the one that homaged the Patsy Walker. So it's Deadpool holding Black Widow, and it's like I love that. I also really love. I have a Valkyries by Rian Gonzalez, and it shows like it's like characters select, and it's like a video game kind of homage. Right. And it shows like Valkyrie and Hydro Man, and it's like sitting on my comic box over there. Which you can't see it in like the thing, but also I don't know if you know the retro covers that Phil Noto did. He did a bunch of retro covers, and I purchased like almost all of them. Like there's some that I haven't been able to like buy or like find, but when I first started collecting, like I love those covers. Like any covers that like are modern yet are retro or like callbacks or like I go nuts over. So when I saw those, I was like, click.
I have his Black Cat because I'm a big Felicia Hardy fan too. So I have his Black Cat Breakfast at Tiffany's homage cover in a 9/8. I was like,
that's so cool. I just received for a Breakfast at Tiffany's homage. I received like a gift from Spectral Comics, and they sent me. Sorry, there's like it's a Tiffany homage.
Here you go. Graphic Man's telling you there's a great Lois, Mary and Bruce Wayne, where Superman stands by like a chump. Lois 89.
I need to find that because I just like the ones where he looks ridiculous.
You see, that's what's dangerous about the nice.
Breakfast at Tiffany's homage. I also love homage covers. That's also another thing. Like if it homages, like a Knights of X recently did like a X-Men 141 homage, and I was like, mine.
I love the movie cover homages. They're fun.
Those are super cool. I know that there's like a few X-Men ones.
Homages, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, more than 10 comics, but yeah.
That's all right. Like I said, this show is about tangents. It's more about getting to know people and spending time with them than, the books are nice, but we're here to meet somebody we haven't met before and introduce them to a new audience too, So obviously you killed it tonight. You were fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the great thing about this show is you can always come back with 10 different books. It's not a top 10. It's just 10 favorites. I mean, Caroline came on my show once, and now she's a semi-regular on the channel. So
I just got to sit here and look good, dude, and ride high, man.
Someone's got to, because I can't do it. So, that's beyond my capabilities, Caroline.
Got it.
Oh, but we've been going an hour and a half. Go ahead, Caroline. You had something to say?
No, I had so much fun, and I loved seeing your books. Obviously, like this is part of the part of the ritual.
You can feel your passion for the books every time you were talking about the books.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's great about collecting comics, right? Is you connect so much with all the stories you're reading and the art. And your favorite artist? I got to know.
Oh God. Oh, it's so hard. I feel like I think that's also part of it, of me learning. It's like I know that there's so many like writers and artists that I've read or I'm like seeing, and it's hard for me to narrow it down, but I would say Phil Noto is really at the top. Like I really love his like composition and characters. Like every time I see him like just drop, like if I could own original art by Phil Noto, like that would be
this
a
is
goal.
Phil Noto, that X-Men Marvels 25. It's like a
I've never seen that before.
Okay.
What?
I'll send you a pic. I'll DM you.
Please do, so that I can,
Mhm.
add to cart.
Well, see, that's the worst thing about all these shows, Haley, is every time we have a show, it costs all of us money.
Absolutely.
We all find out about books we need or want, and then we're on the hunt.
I'm like,
But
oh,
the
my
hunt
wallet
is
feels
so
a little
fun.
lighter.
I'm telling you, dude. But
Oh, thank you. That is
Exactly, Gore. You have it right. And Gore is a great guy. I hope you guys know who he is, because
He's
not only
amazing.
that, when he leaves a comment, it's well thought out, it's insightful, and it adds something to the conversation.
he's a
Always
thinker.
love seeing a comment, huh?
Gore's a thinker.
He has really good
certainly is.
book taste too. Like outside of just like the comics, like him and I will sometimes go back and forth about like novels, and it's really good taste. So
Right. Oh, we're all just novels are great too. I could do a whole other thing on books I love to read.
absolutely, there's many books in my house. I just have like bookshelves everywhere.
Right. I have bookshelves, plus I have books in storage, and like I was like, well, get rid of them. Like, no, you know how many times I've reread books? Like, I will reread books. People like, oh, I read it once, I'm good. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's like watching your favorite movie over. If you enjoyed spending time with it,
Yeah,
it's still as good the second time around.
I've reread only a handful of books because like there are so many things that I'm constantly trying to read, but there's like a handful that like I will reread constantly, and it's like you said, like favorite books, very like it's just like comfortable. You like settle in, you know what like you're getting into.
I have a couple of books like that for sure.
See, I'm a big Clive Barker fan. I've reread a lot of his.
Ooh.
Plus, obviously, Robert E. Howard. I read every year over and over his stories.
Sorry, ahead.
If I could recommend anything to you to read a book wise, if you want a great, tough heroine, and this is underappreciated by Robert E. Howard, and she's partly what Red Sonja is based on.
Oh wow!
The Dark Agnes character, it's called The Swordswoman. There's only 3 stories with her. 2 written by Howard, the 3rd partially written. But look up The Swordswoman, get that. It is the most brutal origin story, and it's so great. She's being forced to marry this dude she doesn't want to marry. She stabs him to death, escapes her family, because her dad is this old bitter soldier who's just trying to marry her away for money. Escapes and hooks up with this guy who teaches, not like hook up, like partners up with him. He's like kind of a father figure to her after she meets him, and he teaches her the art of fighting, and he's not the most likable character all the time either, but he becomes protective of her, and then she's protective of him once her skills grow, and they're such a good team. But she is a fierce character. If you've never read The Swordswoman by Robert E. Howard, you're missing out. It is fantastic.
I'm gonna have you DM all of this to me.
Yeah, just message me and I'll get it to you. Let me write it down so I don't forget.
Yeah.
I think we have a whole nother show with us and a few other people where we just hang out and talk about shit.
Absolutely, please.
First of all, though, as we will wrap it up, because I know we all got other stuff to do. I know I have to work in a few hours in the morning, but I want to thank the record-breaking chat tonight for coming out, not only to support the show, but to support Haley for coming on and showing us what she's got in her personal collection, and for enjoying her passion for the books just as we did. I want to thank Lady Fantastic for coming on to co-host with me. You know I appreciate it. It is my true honor to have you on the program with me. I enjoy anyone that takes the time to come on my channel and just spend the time. And that extends to you, Haley. Thank you for being easy to reach out to.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to come on with never having any other interaction before. And thank you for just having a passion for what you do and for relaying that to us tonight. And I got to tell you, it was an absolute joy and pleasure to get to know you as a person. Thank you so much.
It's so amazing being here. And, thank you to the chat and everyone for showing up. Like, that's awesome. It feels like such a big thing that, like, you broke some records tonight. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
You broke the record, then you broke the record, then you broke it one more time.
Yes.
Dude.
Some other people got some work to do to break your live record.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for taking the time to share what you care about, man. That's
Oh,
all.
of course.
What it's
Also,
about.
I just love hanging out with you. So, like, it was like an instant.
well, I had to ask Caroline on one because it was an excuse to hang out with Caroline more, who's a great person and knows a lot about
Facts.
books. But you said you loved her. I'm like, well,
I do.
I wanted you to be comfortable on the show, at least with one
Mhm.
person you knew.
Thank you. I appreciate that thoughtfulness.
And what was it? Caroline, what have you got coming up on your channel, ma'am?
Oh man, I'm just gonna be rocking in the fetal position in a corner crying like myself. No, I think I'll probably be going live with my buddy Rob, and we'll just be showing books. They're going live right now, so I may go jump on there in a minute. But yeah, I went on this big haul today, so I want to show my nuggets. You know, I don't like having a schedule because I feel like that's too much of a commitment, and I already have to like be so rigid and scheduled and mindful in like my real job that I want to have like no boundaries in my life.
Right.
You can't tell me how to follow rules. I'm not.
I hear you. YouTube is my hobby now. It's where I come to relax.
Yeah. And that's like, I'm not going to make a schedule. I don't want to be consistent. I don't want to have a pull list. That's too much commitment.
I love that though.
You got it all, Caroline. Like every time you were pulling out books, I'm like, oh, all right, little jealous
I know.
of that one. Ooh, little jealous of that one.
Well,
All right, and Haley, what have you got coming up, ma'am? What's coming up for you?
Well, so someday soon, Lady Fantastic and I will be doing an episode about all of the badass Marvel women. We just want to do a show on that, which we won't be able to cover everything in one show, but
I'll be watching.
Yes. I'm really excited about that. And then I just have some reviews planned that I just need to sit down and get to. I've been loving Deadly Class, Carmen. Like a lot of indie comics actually have been really like resonating with me, and I just want to talk about them. So those will someday appear on the internet, hopefully within the next month. So but otherwise, I'll just be reading, and C2E2 ended, and I'll be going to New York Comic Con, so there will be some fun things when I get there in October.
Now, Haley, what's the name of your YouTube channel? Because I didn't know you had one. I knew you had the IG, which is where I found you, but
ChiComicGirl, it's the same. So across all
Okay.
platforms, you can find me there. You can just type it in, and you'll see me
all right,
geeking
because
out
I
over
have to
comics.
sub you up after this, and then I got to get your link in the description.
Yes, yeah, I will send it to you. So
Okay. And again, chat, thank you so much. Again, Haley, thank you guys. I appreciate everyone so much. You guys make doing this show so much fun for me. I love everyone coming on and spending the time and just getting personal with and sharing what they connect with. That's it for tonight, guys. Until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional. Oops. I know I misclicked. I got to do my outro.